Shakespearean sonnet. So let us look at sonnet number 73. Sonnet number 73, you may have read, it's a very famous sonnet. Sonnet number 73. So here is the sonnet. Now, this sonnet is often also, it is designated by the first line of this of the sonnet. So sometimes it is called sonnet number 73, and sometimes as the by the first line of this sonnet. Just one moment. Okay, so let us move on to the reading of this sonnet. So the first line, that is, that time of year thou mayst in me behold. So the sonnet begins in this way. So let us read the sonnet. It is one of the French sonnets, as you know, and you had sonnet number 18 in your, I think, in your semester 1. So you are familiar with the Shakespearean sonnet and the French sonnets. So let us read this sonnet. It is another famous one. That time of year thou mayst in me behold, when yellow leaves or none or few do hang upon those boughs which shake against the cold, bare rent choirs, where late the sweet birds sang. In me thou seest the twilight of such day as after sunset fadeth in the west, which by and by black night doth take away, death's second self that seals up all in rest. In me thou seest the glowing of such fire that on the ashes of his youth doth lie, as the deathbed whereon it must expire, consumed with that which it was nourished by. This thou perceivest, which makes thy love more strong, to love that well which thou must leave ere long. So this is the sonnet, and um, let us try to, look at this sonnet and understand the meaning. So that time of year thou mayst in me behold, when yellow leaves or none or few do hang upon those boughs which shake against the cold. So which is the time of the year? Obviously you can understand it is winter time. That is the end of the year, when the year is figuratively said to be very old and it is about to die. So the old year will die and a new year will take its place. So most probably in the month of December. So that time of year thou mayst in me behold, when yellow leaves, obviously during winter time, the leaves of the trees, they turn yellow or none. So some of the trees might not have any leaves altogether, or very few leaves might be hanging upon those boughs. Boughs means branches which shake against the cold. So during winter time, there is a picture in the first few lines of the poem. There is a picture of uh, the winter season and nature during the cold winter season, and how the trees are looking. So the poet here, Shakespeare, is comparing the winter season with his, uh, you know, uh, condition. So he's saying that I have reached the sort of end of my life, almost the end of my life. So he is having some kind of premonition, or some kind of, you might say, um, a kind of feeling that he is not going to live long. So he is addressing his friend, and by this very apt comparison, he is uh, describing his state. Bared wind choirs where let the sweet birds sang. So the trees had once been, or the branches of the trees, they are now shaking in the cold. But they were once, during the spring season, maybe in summer also, they were full of the choirs, a kind of a choir, it's a band which sings in the church. So the songbirds, different songbirds, used to be there. They used to uh, sing, they used to sit on the branches of the trees, and they used to sing sweetly. But now these branches and the trees, they are bare. They do not have leaves. They do not have any color or any, uh, you know, the sweet smell of flowers is gone. And the sweet birds were late, meaning lately, even a few months back, the sweet birds. Obviously, it is a transferred epithet. The birds are not sweet, obviously, but the songs of the birds are sweet. So the first four lines, I think you have understood. Now, let us move on to the fifth line and the lines after that. In me thou seest the twilight of such day. So the twilight of such day. So uh, when the day comes to an end, the day begins with dawn, early morning. Then morning comes, then slowly the morning turns into midday, noon, then comes afternoon, and slowly uh, evening settles in. So the day dies. So as you can see here, the twilight, where you know what twilight is? It is that phase of the day when the the rays of the sun or the light of the day is slowly fading away, and the evening light, or the light of the kind of a dim light of evening, is coming on. So it's a in between state. So the poet is saying, in me thou seest the twilight of such day, as after sunset fadeth in the west. So after the sun has set in the west, the the rays of the sun, the reddish rays of the sun, still has a kind of uh, a kind of a hue that can be observed in the western sky. So it is his condition. The poet is saying he is also in the same condition, because his life is slowly ebbing away, and he has realized that, like the sunset, so the light that fades in the west. So you can see in me that kind of a situation, which by and by black night doth take away. So black night will come after the end of the day. Black night will arrive, and everything will be engulfed in darkness. So that means death will come. So that is what the poet is saying, that I will, my life will end and death will come. Um, so black night is likened, or it is compared to death's second self. So black night is like death, because it engulfs, or it you can say it covers everything in a darkish hue. So death's second self, it is like death. As death destroys everything, night also, it doesn't allow us to see anything. It covers everything. That seals up all in rest. So everything is sealed up. Death's second self is black night, and all the colors of the day the sounds of the day, and the everything bright and colorful is destroyed by the black night. In me thou seest the glowing of such fire, that on the ashes of his youth doth lie. So he is again and again comparing himself, or the stage he is in, with different things. Here he is talking about the glowing of the fire in a hearth, in a fireplace. So that fire has been burning for a long period of time, but now it is sort of it is you can say in its last stage. So the last embers, EMBERS, that is the last, embers of those fire, the last wood or the logs, they are burning and they are emitting a faint kind of a warmth and light. So the ashes of his youth. So uh, old age is like the ash, kind of a, compared to this, the last stage of life, old age, and youth is the beginning. So obviously the poet is here saying that I have reached that stage where I may be compared to a fire that is dwindling out, that is slowly fading, that has burnt itself out, and only the ashes are left on the fireplace. So the fire was young when it was started, but after maybe quite a few hours of burning, it is not young anymore. It is about to, uh, you know, end, as the deathbed whereon it must expire. So the deathbed of the fire is the ashes, the logs or the wood that is burning, and which is emitting the fire. Obviously, it will be reduced to ashes. Nothing will be left. So obviously, you can understand it's going to be a deathbed. So it is a kind of an extermination, an end that is going to come upon it. So the fire will be, uh, uh, you know, it will stop or end. So it is the deathbed. So likewise, the poet is also in his last stage of life. That is what he is trying to emphasize here. He's trying to, tell his friend about his impending death. He is, in fact, trying to warn him. So the first 12 lines here, he is building up images. He is collecting images of different things, all have these sad connotations. The sad ending of the day, the, how the trees have lost their leaves, the birds are no longer there, then how the night is coming, everything. And in the final couplet, you know that Shakespearean sonnets, they have a final couplet. This thou perceivest, which makes thy love more strong, love that well which thou must leave ere long. So, uh, the poet here says that you can see this, you can see this thou perceivest, meaning you can see and understand the situation which makes thy love more strong. So, you will be able to realize the fact that I, your friend, will not be here for long. So I am about to reach the fag end of my life. So your love will be strengthened. You will love me all the more because you are soon to lose me forever. Because when I die, obviously you will not be able to love me anymore. Only my memory will remain. So I will be there only in your heart or your mind, but not in flesh and blood. So to love that well, which thou must leave ere long. So you have to part with me. My death will come soon, and that will be the end of our beautiful uh, friendship. So to love that well. So while there is yet time, let us uh, cherish our friendship and please love me. That is what he is saying. So he is asking his friend to shower his love on him. So this is the poem. Obviously, it is a not a very cheerful poem, as you can see. Sonnet number 18 was totally different, but sonnet number 73, it is written in a totally different vein. So this is the poem. We have to write the substance. So I will show you the substance and we will also discuss. Here is the substance. So what we have to write, we have to take in the, as I had said, in the substance, the main points that can be found in the poem. So it would be like this in sonnet 73. If it is mentioned sonnet 73 that time of year, obviously you can mention, but you will be able to understand that this is a sonnet because it's a Shakespearean sonnet. You will be able to realize that. And if it is mentioned, you will mention that in sonnet 73. Otherwise, you will do so in your critical comment, not in the substance. So you will say the poet, not Shakespeare. The poet reflects on the approach of old age and death. So he is thinking about old age and death. Addressing a young friend, the poet says that the friend can see in him the signs of advancing age. So this is an address. He compares himself first to late autumn and the onset of winter, when only a few yellow leaves remain on the trees and the birds have departed. So the first few lines. Uh, he then compares himself to twilight, the brief period between day and night. So a very short period, which gradually gives way to darkness. Finally, he compares himself to a dying fire that is slowly consuming itself and nearing extinction. Through these lines or images, the poet emphasizes that his life is drawing to its close. However, instead of diminishing love, the awareness of his mortality makes his friend's affection stronger and more precious. More precious. The friend loves the poet more deeply because he realizes that their time together is limited. Thus, the sonnet suggests that the certainty of death can intensify human love and appreciation. So, obviously, the substance has to be written like this. Always it has to be written in the third person. And this is the substance, as you can see here. So, you have to take in all the important points. What the poet compares himself with, the things, and what he is asking his friend to do in the last part of the poem. So this is the substance. I hope you have understood how you have to write the substance in your own words and in the third person, incorporating the different important points. So this is the substance. Now comes writing the uh, critical appreciation or the critical note of this poem. Now, here it is. Now, introduction. You don't have to write these things. Introduction, title, substance of the poem. No. Substance will not come in here because you have already written it. Now, you just write critical note and then you start writing below that. Now, again, this question, you may obviously mention that it is sonnet 73, Shakespearean sonnet. Sonnet 73 is one of the most celebrated sonnets by William Shakespeare. It belongs to the fair youth sequence and deals with the themes of old age, the passage of time, mortality, and the enduring power of love. So, in these sonnets, actually, the theme is more or less the same. The He's celebrating the friend's beauty in some of them. is celebrating their love and friendship in some others. Through a series of vivid and moving images, Shakespeare reflects upon his advancing age and shows how the awareness of death can deepen human affection. So, obviously, the awareness of separation will deepen the human affections. You can mention that Sonnet 73 occupies a unique position in his 154 sonnets. Uh, no individual titles were given, but the first line was taken to be the title. Here, in this case, as I told you, quote, that time of year thou mayst in me behold, unquote. So, here it gives us a hint that the poet is thinking about time and aging. Now, omit this part, substance, because obviously you have written that substance. So, now you have to come to the theme of the sonnet. So, the principal theme of the sonnet is the inevitability of aging and death. So, aging and death, growing old. You cannot stop from becoming old. And obviously, the end of life will come. Shakespeare presents life as a process of gradual decline, but he also demonstrates that love can gain strength from the awareness of mortality. So, two things are there. Shakespeare is very much aware of mortality, old age, death, that life is a process of gradual decline, but he is at the same time not showing these things in a negative mood. He's saying that love can gain strength from the awareness of mortality. Some other themes are there also in this poem. The passage of time, that is quite evident. Human mortality, the fact that human beings are subject to death, that transience of earthly life, each and every living object will die one day. The relationship between love and loss, and the beauty and dignity of old age. So here, obviously, the poet has reached the sort of a stage in his life which obviously he's not a young man anymore, but his friend is young. So uh, he understands how it is to become an old man. Though, of course, as you know, Shakespeare was how many years old when he died? Only about, I think, 52, 54 years old. So in those days, that age was considered to be quite old. So people didn't live long in those days, not like people who live for 80 years, even more, 90 years. So he considered himself to be an old man, uh, reaching the mid 50s. So, after looking at the themes, then we have to look at the structure. So, the traditional Shakespearean sonnet form, 14 lines, three quatrains, and a concluding couplet. That is very much evident. Quatrain meaning 4-line stanzas, 4 plus 4 plus 4, 12 lines plus 2, 14 lines. Rhyming scheme, A B A B C D C D E F E F G G. Now, how is this? I'll just show you so you will understand. A B A B, it is written. Just remember the rhyme scheme, A B A B C D C D E F E F G G. So this is the rhyme scheme of the Shakespearean sonnet. A B. Look at the last words. Behold. Behold doesn't rhyme with hang, does it? No. So behold hangs with cold. So this is A, behold. Hang is B because it is a different word. It does not rhyme with behold. A, B, A. Hold cold. You understand? Hold cold. A, B, A, B. Hang, sang. A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B. Again. Look at the rhyme scheme here. ABAB. No, sorry. It's CDCD. Because why? Because this word day does not rhyme with either hold or hang or cold or sang. So it's a new word. ABABC. So we have to designate this as C. CD. This also doesn't rhyme with the other words, earlier words. CD. Day, away. West, rest. Then again comes E, because this word doesn't rhyme with EF. So I think you can follow this. EF, last two GG, strong, long. So obviously this is the rhyme scheme. This is called the rhyme scheme. And Shakespearean sonnets, they followed the rhyme scheme ABAB, CD, EF, So the first stanza is ABAB, second one is CD, third one is EF, and last couplet is always GG. So this is the rhyme scheme. If you find out that it's a Shakespearean sonnet, you will have to comment on this. On the structure and form, when you are commenting, you should mention this. Okay. It's easy to remember, not very complicated. Now, each quatrain develops a different metaphor for old age. The first, ABAB, first stanza, it's autumn or winter. Second is twilight. Third is dying fire. The final couplet presents the poem's conclusion and emotional resolution. So, Shakespeare is building up the images. The imagery, obviously autumn imagery or winter imagery. It is better to say winter because only in winter, you can say autumn, but during winter, everything comes to a standstill. Nature is sort of doesn't have that color anymore. Autumn still has its color. The poet compares himself to late winter, let us say, when yellow leaves or none or few do hang. So you can do one thing when you are writing the critical note, you can quote from the text, not in your substance. Substance এ quotation দেবে না, কিন্তু critical note যখন লিখছো তখন এখান থেকে quotation দিতে পারো, ওয়ার্ড গুলো দিতে পারো, ফ্রেজ দিতে পারো, বা লাইনটাও দিতে পারো, যে ওখানে বোঝার জন্য, to explain. The image suggests, what does it suggest? Decline, decay, the nearing end of life cycle, like that. Next, we come to the twilight imagery. So, evening twilight. The poet is comparing himself to evening twilight. In me thou seest the twilight of such day. Again, twilight symbolizes the transition from life to death, just as evening leads on to night. So again, this imagery. Last one is fire imagery. The poet compares himself to a dying fire. In me thou seest the glowing of such fire. So in me thou seest, in me thou seest. So he is pointing out the facts. The remaining embers symbolize the last stage of life before extinction, just like a dying fire. So these images, they become progressively more intense. Winter is a season, twilight a single day, and fire a brief moment. Thus the sense of approaching death grows stronger throughout the poem. একটা পুরো সিজন, তারপরে হচ্ছে একটা দিন, তারপরে হচ্ছে কিছু মাত্র সময়, কয়েকটা মিনিট হয়তো। সো এখানে এটা আমরা দেখব। নেক্সট উই go to the study of the figures of speech, poetic devices এগুলোকে বলা হচ্ছে। এর মধ্যে কি পাবো? Metaphor. The entire poem is built upon extended metaphors. The poet's old age is compared successively to winter, twilight, dying fire. So extended metaphor, not direct comparison like simile, but indirect. Symbolism রয়েছে, yellow leaves কি symbolize করছে? Old age. Night is symbolizing death. Ashes symbolizing the remains of life. And fire is symbolizing human vitality, which is slowly dying away. Apart from these, personification is there. Night is presented as a force that gradually overtakes the day. Death's second self that seals up all in rest. So it has a close resemblance with death. Alliteration, you know what alliteration is? Bare, ruined choirs. The R is there. Death's second self, S. So these phrases create musicality and emphasis. Contrast. The poem contrasts youth and age, life and death, light and darkness, thereby highlighting the poet's condition. Tone. Now let us look at the tone and mood of the poem. The poem is reflective, obviously. The poet is thinking. He's thinking about the time when he will no longer be alive. It is a melancholic, it has a melancholic and sad, mournful tone. The mood is philosophical in a kind of a resigned way. He knows that death is inevitable. So it will come to him just as it will come to everyone. So he is in a philosophical mood. He's not complaining about anything. There is a tender sense of affection for his younger friend. So the poet is contemplating about death, but it is not a despairing kind of a cry. It is calm and thoughtful, ending with the affirmation of love. So now that they are still alive, let them cherish their friendship and love each other. So the mood created is one of quiet meditation and emotional depth. The emotional depth of love is very much there. Okay, so I think you have understood. Language and style. What is the language and style? Obviously, Shakespeare's language is elegant, it is compact, figurative language. Each image contributes to the central theme. The style is lyrical and musical, but the thoughts expressed are profound, intellectually profound. Poet is compressing a complex meditation of life, death, love into only 14 lines. It is the poem is kind of an expression of a profound truth. So, but it is a short poem, only 14-line poem, sonnet. So, what is the philosophical significance of this great poem? The sonnet expresses a universal truth. Human life is temporary and subject to decay. Shakespeare does not regard mortality as entirely tragic. Rather, he suggests that the knowledge of death enhances the value of love. People cherish most deeply what they know they cannot keep forever. So we'll tend to love things which we would not be able to keep or hold on to. So this is the idea that gives the poem a profound emotional and philosophical resonance. So you understand what is the tone, the kind of way the poet is thinking. So last, your own comments, last paragraph. So it is widely regarded as one of Shakespeare's finest sonnets because of its emotional sincerity and artistic perfection. And the sequence of images is carefully arranged, moving from seasonal decline to daily decline and finally to the extinction of fire, the momentary, decline. The poem combines beauty of expression with deep insight into human experience. So, beauty of expression. Obviously, the thoughts are expressed in a very beautiful way, but it, at the same time, it sort of enables us to understand that Shakespeare has a very deep insight into human experience. He has realized the truth of life. The conclusion transforms a meditation on death into a celebration of love, giving the sonnet both pathos and hope. So a kind of a sense of pity is there, but hope is also there. Nothing is sort of, not everything is lost, but hope is there. So finally, we can say that it is a masterly reflection on aging, mortality, the power of love. All these themes are explored here. So through unforgettable images of winter, twilight, dying fire, all these things. So the approach of death is uh, in a very dignified and sensitive way. Shakespeare, through his awareness of life's brevity, makes love stronger and more meaningful for his friend and himself. And the rich imagery is, of course, something that we have to take note of. Emotional depth, of course, we have commented on that. And it has a universal appeal because um, this sonnet voices forth universal feelings, universal thoughts. The way Shakespeare is talking about himself, it might, it can also resemble any other person who is nearing his or her, life's end. So it can be compared to other people also, the situation that he is in. So in this way, you have to write the critical note. So do not make the headings, but write the critical note in this way. Okay. So with this, we come to the end of this class, and I hope you have sort of followed more or less. Now, the fact is, I will take your class again on Saturday